And good afternoon, producer Susan. How you doing today?
It's pretty chilly out here, Jersey Joe. How about you?
Little, it's cold. We still haven't seen our first real snow yet. I mean, we had a dusting the other day, but you could still see the grass. So, hey, I meant to ask you, has Penn State gotten a bowl bid yet?
Yes, we're going to the Pinstripe Bowl against Clemson.
Clemson, okay. I saw where um, Rutgers got invited to do the Birmingham Bowl after somebody else bowed out, and Rutgers said thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, I think was it Notre Dame who backed out
Yeah, Notre
and
Dame backed out, and then they went looking for a fill-in. Then they went to Rutgers. I guess Rutgers, after that last game, fired a bunch of their staff. So,
yeah.
so they
Well,
said,
we announced officially yesterday we have a new head coach from Iowa State, Matt
"Oh,
Campbell.
okay, well, good." So hopefully that'll bear bode well, and you'll have your what's his name back next year, Allard.
Drew Aller, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be back
Hopefully.
next.
Yeah,
So hopefully you'll have a championship level team next year. Well, very good.
hopefully.
All right. Well, anyway, you want to hear what's on the agenda today?
Yeah, what's on the agenda?
Well, first of all, those who are just tuning in or listening, this is today is December 9th. We're 12 days away from the winter solstice, which is December 21st, which is the day when we have the shortest amount of daylight all year. So we're 12 days away from the winter solstice. Our quote this week is from economist Thomas Sowell on the name that liberals assign to the sin of envy. Remember the seven deadly sins: sloth, greed, envy. Remember those seven deadly
Mhm.
sins?
Yeah.
Well, envy is now something that liberals have assigned a new name to. Um, you have to work hard. We in the stupidest thing I've heard all week. We have three nominees. You have to decide the winner. The first one you know about is the first one about a law that's trying to legislate how often you should walk your dog and how long you should those walks should be. And I'm not saying that walking your dog isn't important, but how are you going to monitor the enforcement of such a law? The second is about a woman who wants a law passed requiring anybody who voted for Trump to have to wear a red MAGA hat 24 hours a day, so you know who they are. And this third is the reason singer Billie Eilish has decided to move to Canada. So you'll have to pick from those three when we give you the full background. Once again, we have a clip from Bill Maher commenting on the left's. Now, Bill Maher's a flaming liberal, but he's week after week he's been slamming his own party for the stupid and counterproductive things that they've been doing. And this week he takes them on for their apparent inability to have a civil disagreement when debating social and political issues. And I think he's got some great insights. This came in late today. I had already done my show notes this morning when this came in. It's a report out of Germany, some staggering crime statistics on the frequency of crimes committed by immigrants from the Middle East that they willingly admitted to their country, and the statistics are staggering. We'll also tell you what happened to high school SAT scores versus graduation rates over the past 50 years, and ask, do the results of those two metrics make any sense? We'll tell you why you might want to think twice before signing up for one of those safe driver discounts being offered by many insurance companies. You've heard of those, right?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of them have to do not with your driving record, but with allowing them to monitor how you
Mhm.
operate your car. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Well, we're going to give you some downside to that. Um, we'll also give you some statistics about the staggering amount of equipment the Biden administration abandoned in Afghanistan for the Taliban to take over during the botched withdrawal of our troops in 2021. We'll also tell you about a new world record that was set in Argentina last weekend involving one specific breed of dog. And hint, it was not Labrador Retrievers. Did you hear about that record?
No, I don't think I did.
Well, we'll tell you about a record that was set in Argentina last weekend about a one specific breed of dog, and it was not Labrador Retrievers. And finally, our taxpayer relief shot this week is from Miami-Dade, Florida, where four people attempt to break into somebody's house. Um, Unfortunately for them, the homeowner had a gun and knew how to use it. All right. Um, all right. Here's our quote from economist Thomas Sowell. And he said, envy was once considered to be one of the seven deadly sins, but it has become one of the most admired liberal virtues under its new name, which is social justice. What do you think about that?
Yep.
So it's become everything has become, well, we have to redistribute this. We have to It's all social justice. We have to take what rich people have and give it to poor people. We have to tax the rich more, social justice. We have to give reparations to black people, social justice. It's envy. All it is envy. That's all it is. It's how, by the way, Karl Marx and Lenin divided their country, against the Bolsheviks. Remember the Bolshevik revolution?
That one I don't remember.
Well, they had a big revolution in Russia. That's when they killed the Tsar and the family and all that. It was all about creating class envy between the haves and the have-nots. And that's all social justice really is envy dressed up in a new name. So again, one more time. Envy was once considered to be one of the deadly sins, but now it has become one of the most admired liberal virtues under its new name, which is social justice. All right. All right. Here's our three stupidest things I've heard all week. You decide the winner. First, I think we may have talked about this last week a little bit. In Delaware, PETA, uh, people eating tasty animals. Is that what that stands for? PETA? People
The
eating.
people for the ethical treatment of animals.
Okay. Has proposed a new law that they're lobbying to get this law put on the books that would require dog owners to walk their dogs at least 3 times a day with one of those walks being at least an hour long. Now, I'm all for pet owners being responsible and being humane treatment, but number one, what do you think of their metric in terms of you got to walk your dog 3 times a day and one of those walks has to be an hour? And two, how would you ever administer that
Well,
type of
yeah,
law?
how would you enforce that one? And it has to be, and it really has to do with breeds. So some breeds don't want to walk. Some breeds need like 5 hours of walks.
Yeah, my sister-in-law has two of these little puffy balls. You can hold them in one hand. They
They
look like
probably couldn't last an hour.
couldn't last an hour. I mean, they go outside for, and she has an enclosed backyard. She'll turn them out, and 4 minutes later, they're at the back door scratching, saying, "Please let me in. Please let me
Yeah.
in." They don't want to be outside, particularly when it's cold.
And then you get some of these like cattle dogs or, some of the shepherd dogs. They need hours of exercise.
Yes, hours of exercise. So anyway, so I think that's one of the nominees. Now, here's the second nominee, and I think you had a clip. Here's this woman, um, and it's only 40 seconds long. So listen carefully. Here we go.
The law that requires anyone.
Oh, hang on, I'm going to back this up. It's a little low. I'm going to back it up.
To wear their. I say we pass a law that requires anyone who voted for that orange piece of shit to wear their Trump hat 24/7. Because conservatives are dangerous for anyone who isn't white, Christian, or male. Completely dangerous. Like dynamite waiting to go off in your hand. So I think we should all get a public service warning. Don't you?
So I fit the profile. I voted for Trump. I'm a white Christian male. Am I dangerous like a stick of dynamite in your hand?
No, and I don't think that you even have a MAGA hat, do you?
No, I don't have a MAGA hat.
Yeah,
But
and I'm
but
sure a lot of Republicans don't have MAGA hats.
but I'm a white Christian male who voted for Trump. I think you know me pretty well. Am I dangerous like a stick of dynamite being held
No,
in your hand? Okay.
no.
Well, that's number two.
And conversely, I know a lot of liberals that are dangerous.
Yes. Like, the ones that set fire to police stations and
Yeah,
okay. All right. And here's the last one. You know who Billie Eilish is, right?
yeah, I do. The singer.
Well, in reference, she's saying this in reference to Elon Musk. She says, "I'm moving to Canada because I don't want to have to breathe the same air as that idiot." Now, first of all, does she know that there's no wall between the U.S. and Canada that prevents U.S. air from commingling with Canadian air?
Apparently not.
And if you are simply in a, and if you're simply in a different state, does, are you going to be breathing the same? What are the chances you're going to be breathing the same air
Yeah.
that Elon Musk? All right. So you get the first vote this week. The listeners will get the other. So is it the PETA law, the woman who wants Trump voters to have to wear a red MAGA hat, or Billie Eilish moving to Canada because she doesn't want to have to breathe the same air
I
as.
don't know. This is tough. And PETA people don't like service dogs either.
Oh, they
Or
don't.
working. Oh no, no, because it's yeah, they don't like any kind of working dog.
Okay.
Um, so I have a bunch of other problems with PETA, but and I personally think I am a ethical treatment, but that's a whole nother conversation. I don't know. This is a tough one.
Well, if you want to rank them one, two, three, I mean,
I think that, an organization as well known as PETA should be educated, and that like you can't enforce that legally.
yeah, again, unenforceable.
Yeah. I don't know, between that and Billie Eilish, I'll just chalk up to, it's Billie Eilish and,
Yeah, just want to make a
who,
statement.
by the way, is a PETA supporter.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. That's a tough
I'm
one.
gonna go with the woman who wants Trump voters to be forced to wear red MAGA hats. All right.
Yeah, because I know a lot of dangerous liberals and I know a lot of dangerous socialists.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to Bill Maher, and I think this is a great observation on his part about how the left is unable to have a civil disagreement. And by the way, I think there's been a lot of studies about how many liberals have broken off relationships with both friends and relatives over political differences. It's a very high percentage, whereas
Mhm.
it's almost non-existent among conservatives. You disagree with me. You want to support Biden. You think socialism. Okay, I disagree with you, but I'm not gonna disown you, or what's the other word? I'm not gonna excommunicate you. I'm not gonna take you off my friends list because we have political differences. So here's Bill Maher talking about how the one of the failings of the left that they can't seem to disagree with you without becoming uncivil.
The things we have to correct in America is people should not have to feel bad about living in any part of the country where their politics isn't the majority. And that works both ways
I
together.
agree.
Like you didn't feel comfortable there, and that's wrong. And look, I never stop ragging on liberals and woke people, not liberals. I'm a liberal. These people are different for just being fucking snobs. This is the I won't eat with you at Thanksgiving people. This is the no contact thing. Yeah. But, lots of liberals wouldn't be comfortable at a NASCAR rally either. I mean, there are places where but I will say, and this is something I'm going to say Friday night, the liberals are worse about this. I will admit it. And we have to look in the mirror on that one. We are just worse at the snobby thing, I don't know any conservatives who don't at least talk. Right. Now maybe that's because you won. Maybe that's because it's easy. There was a time we didn't. And you still came. It's true. Yes, there was a time we didn't. They're happy warriors. I remember that term when I was a kid. Like that was somebody who was like, and that's what Republicans usually are. They're happy warriors. They come there. And you see, I don't pull my punches. They take their shots like a man. One of the things we have to.
And by the way, his guest here is a conservative Republican woman, and they're having a civil discourse between them.
Yeah.
So I mean, do you think what he says about liberals being less likely to be able to have a civil
Yeah,
conversation?
they get so angry. They're an angry bunch of people. And why can't we agree to disagree? Why can't we have a calm, rational debate and debate our feelings?
Well, and this goes back to some other studies, and I don't want to, but I've read this several times, and I forget which is which, left brain, right brain. One is more logical, methodical, mathematical, and the other is
That
more,
would be left brain.
is it the
Yeah, and
logical,
those who are right brained are more creative.
creative, but tend to be highly emotional.
Mhm.
Well, that's because, and again, and there's been study, you can look this up yourself. Liberals tend to be right brain, which is emotion driven. Well, when you allow your emotions to control your behavior, you're going to wind up getting angry at people you disagree with. Whereas you disagree with me, okay, I understand why you disagree with me. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. We had a little a little thing there. Can you hear me now?
Yep, yep, yep.
All right. All right. So yeah, so it's again comes down to liberals being not every liberal, but the majority of liberals tend to be right brain,
Mhm.
emotion driven, and they let their emotions take over. To me, you disagree with me. Okay, tell me why you disagree with me. Okay, I think that's I think that's irrational. I think it's stupid, but okay, we can agree to disagree. Apparently, agree to disagree is not something that you'll find in a liberals in a liberals uh, uh, repertoire. Anyway, how much time we got?
Oh, you got a good 20 minutes.
Oh, good. Okay. Um, this came out today. Now, you know that over the past 5 years with the war in Syria and Afghanistan and people fleeing the Taliban, that the European countries were admitting literally millions of people willingly. They weren't illegal aliens. They said, okay, you're welcome here. So these are not illegal aliens sneaking into the country. These were people from the Middle East that the European countries, including Germany,
Mhm.
welcomed into their country. Well, the Germany's federal criminal police just released a nationwide crime statistic by nationality for the first time, and the results aren't just a rounding error; they're category 5 reality check. Now, here's the baseline reference point. The baseline violent crime suspects per 100,000 citizens is 163. In other words, out of every 100,000 German citizens, 1.6 on average, 1.6 per 100,000, I'm sorry, 163, which is 1.6% of German citizens are suspects in violent crime. Now, the German police have broken this down by nationality. Do you know what the rate instead of 163, you know what the rate is for Syrian immigrants?
Oh, I feel like it's probably higher.
You want to take a guess how much higher?
Twice?
How about 10 times,
Wow. Wow.
1,740? And surprisingly, Afghan refugees also 10 times higher, 1,722 per 100,000. So you go from 163 to 1,700, 1,740 in the case of Syrians and 1,722. And it gets better. Non-German suspects now account for 40% of criminals in all cases. Now, foreign convicts have grown past 1/3 of the total prison population. In other words, now more than even though they're still only about 14% of the population, they're a third of the prison population of the total. I'm sorry, they're 8% of the total general population. They're more than a third of the prison population. In sexual offenses, Afghan men show up as suspects 11 times more often than German men. Iraqi men 10 times more often. The raw volume, Syrians committed 135,668 crimes between 2015 and 2024. That is one every 39 minutes for a decade. Can you
Wow.
imagine? One every 39 minutes, a Syrian committed a crime in Germany. Every 39 minutes, 24 hours a day for 10 years.
Wow.
Is that staggering?
That is, yeah.
Afghans, 82,960 crimes. Iraqis, 69,946. That's 460,000 crimes from the top 10 migrant source countries in 10 years.
Mhm.
Remember, that's 500,000 crimes from uh, from the top 10 migrant source. In 2024 alone, Syrians were suspected in 12,512 violent crimes, the highest figure in the entire decade. Rape and sexual assault cases involving Syrians has jumped 60% since 2020. Um, so if you're a German citizen and now you're looking back, you're saying, "Oh, what have we done?" And now the biggest question, what are you going to do about it? You're going to keep them, you're going to keep all these people in jail, and what's that going to
Yeah.
cost you? Um, it's I mean, we already heard, in France where the police have, you've heard of no-go zones
Hmm.
where the police won't go there because they're basically enforcing, they're basically enforcing Sharia law, and the police, basically won't go into any of those areas. So it looks like Germany. It's like, what have we done to ourselves? And again, staggering statistics. The crime rate is ten times higher than the average. And again, 163 per 100,000 German citizens is the average. The Syrians and the Afghans are over 1,700 per 100,000. Just shakes your head. All right, let's talk about SAT scores and graduation rates. Now, it's probably no secret that over the past 50 years, I'm going back to 1970, that SAT scores have fallen dramatically.
Mhm.
You know, we hear these stories about how, like in Chicago, more than half the kids can't read at grade level. They can't do math at grade level. So SAT scores have come down, and you would suspect that as SAT scores fell, graduation rates should fall, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, nationwide, graduation rates have gone from 70% to 87%.
Wow.
So how does it make sense if your SAT scores are falling, meaning you can't perform as well as you used to, that
Well,
your
they're just
grad
pushing kids through the system.
yeah, they're pushing them through the system. It's more like a participation trophy. Okay, you came here, you sat here for 12 years, here's your
Mhm.
diploma, now get the hell out of here.
Which what we're doing such a disservice.
It's a disservice to them and to the community and to society. It's just, I shake my head and how do we fix this? And by the way, this is why so many parents, I think, are turning to either homeschooling or just taking money out of their pockets to go to private school. And by the way, one of the things I think would fix this, if we had a voucher program, competition breeds excellence. And by the way, in Europe, if you in most countries in Europe, um, every student is given the equivalent of a voucher. If the student can go to any school he wants, public, private, whatever, and uh, and the government will pay for it. And that has led to, by the way, competition in public schools now. If they can't offer an equivalent product, um, then they see their enrollment dropping and they go out of business. So I think that'd be a great, to me, that would be great. Competition, I believe, breeds excellence. What do you think of that type of system here?
Yeah. So around here, what's super popular around here is what are called charter schools. So they are actually part of our school district.
Public school system, but they're non-union, run by private companies. Right.
Yeah, so they are a tuition free. They're part of the school district, but I'm not exactly sure how I don't know the ins and outs of how all the funding works, but they are free. They're very, autonomous and allow for choice and innovation.
Yep.
And they're super popular. We probably have like 10 charter schools around here.
And maybe that's the answer. Instead of vouchers, you just allow more charter schools. By the way, teachers unions hate charter schools because they're non-union.
Mhm.
They hate charter schools. They're non-union. So, um, and maybe that's the answer. But this trend doesn't bode well for America if it continues.
Yeah,
So,
we have it. Yeah, charter schools are widely popular in this part of Pennsylvania.
okay. Well, good. Well, good for that part of Pennsylvania. Let's hope the rest of the country does something about it. All right.
It is almost too, even though it's a free school. Again, I don't know how all the funding works specifically, but it's almost like, oh, well, my child goes to this charter school and my child goes to that charter school. Like it's a badge of honor that your child was accepted into XYZ charter school around here.
It works the same. What the school district does is it figures up how much they're spending per student. And if you operate a charter school, if you're a private corporation that operates a charter school, they say, okay, I'm going to make up a number. It costs us $16,250 per student. Tell us how many students you have enrolled, and we'll send you a check for $16,250 per student. That's how it
Mhm.
works.
Now, granted, we do, I do live in a good school district and we pay the property tax to show that too. So
Right. Okay. Good. All right. You want to move on to safe driver discounts?
yeah, yep.
Okay. Now, some of them are simply, hey, if you go accident free for 3 years, we'll
Mhm.
drop your rate by 10. But more and more, they're saying, hey, we want to monitor how hard you brake, how many miles you
Mhm.
drive, how fast you drive. And they do that. Do you know what an ODB plug is under your
Mhm.
dashboard?
Yep, yep.
Like if you get a code on your dashboard, that's like a diagnostic connection
Yeah.
that accesses your car's computer. Well, a lot of the insurance companies now, in order to get the discount, you have to connect this little module about the size of a deck of playing cards, maybe a little smaller, that plugs into your ODB one connection, and it's a Wi-Fi, and it will send back to I don't even know maybe it's cellular, but actually sends back your car's performance data, how many miles you drove, how fast you drove, how the G-force when you accelerated, actually sends it back uh, to the insurance company. But guess what? It operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you park your car in an airport parking lot and you're gone for 2 weeks and your battery wasn't right up to snuff, guess what? When you come back, particularly in wintertime, good chance your battery's going to be dead. Did you know
Mm,
that?
no.
Well, tell your friends if they're going to park their car in a parking lot and go away for a week or 10 days, they might want to pull, and they have one of those. They might want to unplug it because it is drawing current from your battery
Mm.
every minute that it's plugged in. Now, yes, it's a little tiny bit of power, but over 7 to 10 days, it can drain a battery that's not brand new. So that's a downside for safe driving.
Well,
All right.
I one of the flaws I find with those, and I've never used one of those, but my car and a lot of new cars do this, and it's based on GPS. So my car will yell at me when I'm speeding. If I go more than 10 miles over the speed limit, the little voice it comes on, it'll say the speed limit's 55. But where I notice that the little voice comes on every day is both on the acceleration ramps and deceleration ramps, the exit ramps
Uh-huh.
and the entrance ramps. So the whole point of an entrance ramp or an exit ramp is to get
Speed
up from
up.
speed or
Speed up.
slow down from speed. And typically those speed limits are roughly in the 35 mile
Right.
an hour range, but you need to be accelerating to flow up to
To the
the
highway
flow of
speed. Yeah.
traffic. So by the time
Well,
I get on to the end of that ramp, I should be going 55 miles an hour, but she's always telling me I'm speeding. And likewise, when I'm getting off, she'll tell me that I'm speeding, but I need to, by the time I get to the end of the ramp, I should be doing 25. So
well,
there's
guess
a
what?
flaw with how those systems work too.
Well, guess what? If you had one of those little modules plugged in that would be sending that speeding message twice a day to your
Yeah.
insurance company, and you wouldn't get your discount.
Well, twice in the morning and twice in the afternoon as I'm
Right.
getting on and off the
Yeah.
interstate.
They'd say, screw
Yeah.
you. We're going to raise your rate because
Yeah, exactly.
you speed 4 times a day. All right. How much time we got now?
Oh, you got about 5 minutes.
All right, real quick then. Remember in 2021 we had that botched withdrawal from Afghanistan?
Hmm.
Now, but there were two airports. We had the main airport in Kabul, which is where all the people were and the soldiers got killed. But the U.S. also had something called Bagram Air Force Base, which was about 30 miles outside of town. That's where we had these attack helicopters and the Warthog. We had all this military stuff. And the smart move would have, and by the way, in Bagram Air Force Base with those attack helicopters, they controlled the road network. But Biden closed down Bagram first, which allowed the Taliban to come out of the mountains into Kabul. The smart thing would have been to, so we're going to leave Bagram open and it'll be the last thing we close. We're going to evacuate Kabul, and then we'll do that. And oh, by the way, while we're doing that, we're going to be flying C-5A transports in, taking our equipment home. They could have had a round-the-clock aircliff going. You want to hear how much? This is from the Department of Defense Inspector General. You want to hear how much equipment they left at Bagram Air Force Base?
Probably millions of dollars worth.
Billions. And here you go. 96,000 vehicles, including 51,000 general purpose like tactical vehicles, 23,000 Humvees, 900 armored combat vehicles, 427,000 weapons, including rifles, Stinger missiles, 17,400 helmet-borne lights, and at least 162 aircraft. All were left there for the Taliban to take over. Is that shocking or what?
That is a lot.
Yeah, again,
And that's taxpayer money.
tax for 96,000 vehicles. And also, you've equipped the Taliban. You've equipped the Taliban. So it's just shocking that we left them with 500,000 weapons, 96,000 vehicles, and 162 aircraft. All right. You want to hear the new record of set with dogs this weekend in Argentina?
What's that?
They apparently golden retrievers are popular in Argentina. So there's a prior Guinness World Record where they had 1,600 golden retrievers in one place at one time. And by
Oh,
the way,
geez.
it's winter here, but in the southern hemisphere it's summer, so it was a nice summer day in Argentina. You want
Mhm.
to guess how many golden retrievers they had in one park at the same time over the weekend?
500.
2,397.
Wow.
Three short of 2,400. Can you imagine 2,400 golden retrievers in one
Wow.
place at the same time? So,
Our local baseball team in the summertime, they do Bark in the Park nights, and they
okay.
get upwards of 500 dogs there for baseball games.
All right. Well, I wonder if there's a record for how many Labrador retrievers in the same place. You might want to look that up. How many labs in the same place? All right. Hey, I know we're running short on time,
Yep,
so
yep.
I'm gonna skip the intro. I'm just gonna go right to our taxpayer relief shot from Miami-Dade, and here we go.
Man shot and killed somewhere he wasn't supposed to be is talking to Local 10 News. The Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office investigating his death as part of an attempted home invasion. Was this a case of stand your ground? Crime specialist Bridget Matter digs into the story. She is live in the Richmond Heights neighborhood. And Bridget, what have you learned?
Well, detectives, they still have to determine exactly what happened here. What we know is 4 men tried getting into a house. One of them was shot, and the other 3 are still on the run.
By the way, I'm gonna back that. What you just heard was a gunshot and then a guy screaming, and you're gonna hear why he screamed.
Still on the run. Nearby surveillance video captures gunfire and a loud scream around 6:40 Saturday evening. Police say 4 people tried to force their way into a Southwest Miami-Dade home. Deputies say someone who was inside the house fired a gun towards the 4 and shot one of the men in the upper body. A 911 call says one of the intruders was shot in the face.
The person shot wasn't a male that broke into the KTH, and he shot in the face and the mouth.
He later died at the hospital. The 3 others are on the run. It happened at this home near the intersection of Southwest 141st Street and Southwest 110th Avenue.
I'm in shock.
And we'll leave it there. So, geez, where have we heard his buddies just ran and left him behind to die?
Yep.
Where have we heard
Yep.
that? And of course, by the way, if they catch him, his 3 buddies can all be charged with murder because
Yeah.
a fatality occurred during the commission of a felony. So anyway, so any comment on anything we've talked about today before we sign off?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, let me
I'm
sign
still
off here.
torn on the 3 stupidest things, though.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm still torn about the 3 stupidest things.
Well, you can send me an email with your vote, and folks, remember to vote on which one of the three things you think is the stupidest thing all week. Anyway, I want to thank everybody who's listened to this podcast for giving up 30 minutes out of your busy day to listen to me ramble on about the things I find of interest and important. And I hope you found those topics as interesting and important as I did. And if so, I hope you continue to listen in the podcast in the weeks and months to come. If you want to see some of the materials and story links you heard me talk about today, in a couple of days, give producer Susan a couple of days, and you can find them on the Jerzee Joe website at jerzeejoe.com, with Jersey being spelled J-E-R as in Robert, Z as in zebra, E-E, Jerzee, jerzeejoe.com, no space. And if you'd like to send me an email with your vote on the stupidest thing you heard all week, a question, a suggested show topic, or you'd like me to send you one of those links directly to your inbox, just email me to joe@jerzeejoe.com. Just remember to spell Jersey with an R, a Z, and 2 E's. And with that, producer Susan, if you've got nothing else, I'll sign off and talk to you next week. Are you good?
All right. Yep.
All right, you take care.
Bye-bye.